Hey world, it's your host Marshall. Thanks for tuning into my podcast, Run On Thoughts. Here we talk about everything and nothing because we are not afraid to be all of ourselves even as we evolve. And that's my thought for my fellow thought thinkers as we unpack our traumas, past hurts, and other BS. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hey thought thinkers, we're back at it again for another episode of Run On Thoughts. Happy Sunday morning. It is a beautiful Sunday morning, and I hope you guys were out in the world this week living a full life, learning and unlearning, being who you are. I am so grateful to be here. I am grateful to all of the listeners. I am grateful to all of the new listeners. Thought thinkers, we are growing. We are still a small community, and I am all right with that. But we are growing organically, and I am happy for that. I want to stand in a place of gratitude for those of you who have been on this journey with me since the very beginning. And I want to say thank you for those of you who are listening for the first time. My hope is that you are inspired, that you can take what you need, and that you can go out into the world with tools to live a fuller life. I welcome you to subscribe and to go to runONthoughts.com to become a thought thinker. I welcome you to listen on any of the social media platforms. And with that, I want to get into today's episode. It is a declaration. So what? So what? Today's episode was inspired by my sister Karen. I think I had permission to tell you that she was crying at work, and somehow the crying at work made her feel embarrassed. And it was the embarrassment that she couldn't stop crying, not the crying. And I'm on the phone going, so what? And that is when I realized how many of us give a fuck about what other people think. Today, I want us to get bold and raw and finally become unapologetically, ooh, you heard that word? Unapologetically real. I want you to understand that so what is a declaration. It is a short word, just like no is a full sentence. So what is a declaration? It is a reminder that you're worth. It is a reminder that your worth is not measured by your mistakes. That your worth is not measured by your setbacks. That your worth is not measured how others perceive your journey. Do you guys understand that you are on a journey? That life is the journey? None of us really know where we're going. So the beauty of the journey has to be just in the being. And on life's journey, we learn. On life's journey, we unlearn. Right? We have to stop being so rigid in how we get there, so rigid in what's going on, and this idea that other people are without mistakes is some wild shit. Right? It doesn't matter if you have fallen. It doesn't matter if you have fell off. It doesn't matter if you have failed or fumbled. It is time right now, thought thinkers, to stop shrinking in shame and start standing in your truth. There is power in saying, so what? So what? It is time to reclaim your confidence. When life doesn't go as planned, Falling is not the end, guys. Staying down because of other people's opinions is. So, let's unpack my story. You give yourself permission to unpack your story. And let's free ourselves from embarrassment. Let's release this incessant need for validation and rise and continue on life's journey on your own terms. Right? I don't have shame. I don't know. And people are like, oh, you got shame. I don't have shame. There are things that I have done wrong. And I own those things. And I unpack those things. And while I am owning and unpacking those things, I am trying to learn and unlearn the lessons so that I can exist in a state of feeling blessed. Right? Now, anything that has happened to me, I am not willing to carry the shame of that. I have had many conversations with you. We live in a world where evil gets to thrive because it is dependent on goodness walking with its head down. It needs you to feel shame. It needs you to exist in fear. It needs you to feel alone and isolated so that evil, can steal your light. Because ain't that some shit? Evil still needs your life. It needs your light. It doesn't thrive in darkness. It goes into the darkness to come up with ways to steal from you. And it is your light that it needs because evil must be fake. It is dependent on you not rising up. It is dependent on you not shining. So many things have happened to me. And with that, I understand that that means that so many things have happened to all of us. Yes, we are different, but we are all experiencing a human experience. We have all fallen. We have all lied and cheated and stole or some variation, right? Yes, there are things in all of our lives where we get to have one moral high ground. But we're not walking around with all of the moral high grounds. We are fallible. We are humans. Some of us ain't shit. Some of us lie. Some of us cheat. Some of us steal. But usually when people are care what other people think, it is never the shit that they've really done. The shame that people are walking around with is usually the shame of what others have done to them. And that is the crazy part. That is the part that got me like, get the fuck out of here. Someone has hurt you and you feel shame, or someone has imposed their will on you and you feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel embarrassment. There are a number of you who have been in my predicament and who have lost a parent to drugs, and yet you feel the shame of your parent being a drug addict. I'm confused. No, really, I'm confused. Why would your parents or family members' actions make you feel shame? I didn't do the drugs. My mother did the drugs. And that doesn't even mean that I am mad at my mother. I am sure that my mother had her own traumas. And my mother had her own weaknesses. And yes, I am my mother's daughter. But what I get to do is look at my mother. I will will not absorb her trauma. And that is what so many of you are doing. You are walking around absorbing other people's trauma. I get to look at my mother and see her life. And that is why I say you get to look at life. And you get to make the choice if you want to look at life through the lens of a lesson or a blessing. Does that make sense? I get to look at my mother's life and say, my mother did drugs. I see what drugs have done to my mother's life. And so therefore, I will not do drugs. And in my choice, I have decided that that is the blessing. I am able to learn from other people's mistakes. Now, other people's mistakes does not inherently mean that it will work out the same for you. But drugs is one of those concrete things that I can make a choice about and not follow. Right? So because I have received a blessing from the bad lesson that my mother has experienced, I am not carrying the shame. I am actually grateful that I have many humans to look at who were fallible, who were not perfect, because none of us is perfect. None of us are perfect. Some of you are walking around mad at people and therefore mad and bitter in your own life because they didn't know what you now know. The number of people mad at their parents when their parents didn't have the same tools as them, and you're mad at people who didn't have the tools that you have, is wild. Yes, you can have boundaries. Yes, you could tell people how you're going to move, but boundaries aren't for them. The boundary is for you. Don't be upset. Learn from it, because what you don't learn from is what you will repeat. If you're mad at your parent for not being there, I'm telling you that you will not be there, or you will be there too much and you will produce the same type of bitterness. Only healing can change trauma. Only healing can break cycles. Otherwise, because you will produce extremes, and it is in those extremes that you produce the same subject matter. Parents that are too lenient, parents that are too strict, produce the same child. Rebellion from not receiving enough of something or too much of something. Balance. That's what the word "so what" should bring you. It should bring you balance. It should remind you of who you are. It should bring you back to your center. Balance. I have done some things in my life that I will not share. But it's not shame the reason why I don't share. I don't believe that everything is for consumption. I share the things in which I can break down and show you the lesson that I have learned. Right? And the things that which I believe that in my sharing, I'm not going to hurt anyone. Because usually when we are sharing things, we have to tell other people's truths. Now, if you have hurt me in a way that is, I think you should be in hell, I will share it. But of course, I have done some things. Of course, I have done things that I am not proud of. When I was a young girl, I was insecure. I had abandonment issues. I have unpacked my abandonment issues. And in unpacking my abandonment issues is how I discovered that those who abandoned me had issues. So I was able to give it back. And in giving it back, I was able to stand 10 toes down in who I am and realize that my very existence is why I am worthy. And I get to exist based on who I am and not based on who the world wants me to be. The world wants you to be broken because it is in your brokenness that it gets you to consume, that it gets you to conform, that it gets you to be in a state of delusion, that it gets you to do all of the things that you really don't want to do so that others can win. But what if I told you that everybody crazy? We live on earth. You don't get to escape not having problems. You don't get to escape not being through things and going through things. You don't get to escape. You get to exist. You get to unpack and you get to go on a journey. Now, what type of journey that is dependent on you. It's dependent on you. You know how many people are in a horrible relationship and they out here lying? And I'm trying to figure out why. Why are you lying? Why are you trying so hard to hold the pieces of a shitty relationship together? Why are you embarrassed? Why? Because you told everybody that you would never? Well, you thought it'd be never. Now it is. Or because you judged somebody else's relationship, or because your parents had a shitty relationship, and now you want to force a relationship, so you're going to hold it together and suffer. Remember, suffering breeds autoimmune disease. So you're out here dying in the name of, just so that you can look right. You see what that looks like? You see what that looks like? You got to walk around looking perfect because you care about what other people think. Instead of making a decision based on how you feel. Or is it fear? Is it fear? Are you not able to say so what because you are afraid? But what are you really afraid of? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of being alone? A bad relationship means that you are alone. When people say you don't want to grow old alone, they are only speaking of flesh, not of someone taking care of you, not of someone being there for you. Because if you are in a relationship where you are doing all of the work now, do you think that person is there to take care of you? Are you a giver with a taker? Because it is usually givers who are living in shame. Takers don't give a fuck. Takers say so what all motherfucking day. It's the givers who have to bring out their shields and fight for the right to be, for the right to exist. I want us to exist. So many negative things we are putting on ourselves when we are not giving ourselves permission to live. I used to chase the attention of men. But truthfully, I realize now that I was chasing the attention of anyone who would give me attention. I wanted love. I wanted to be smart. I wanted to be of value to someone. And I used to believe that you used to have to do something for everyone. That's people pleasing. In order to get things back. But the truth is, you ain't got to do shit but be. And be who you are and being who you are has got to be enough. And the truth is, when you are who you are doing yourself a beautiful service, because those who are not worthy of you, or those who simply do not fit into your life, will walk away. But when you are constantly bending like the wind, you'll have no idea who is genuinely in your life, because you are always doing what they need you to do, because you are afraid of existing and living in your so what. You are afraid to be bold. You are afraid to be unapologetically you. Who stole that from you? What stole that from you? Was it childhood trauma? It's not yours. I have told you, give it back. Any evil that has been perpetuated against you is not your shame to carry. We do enough shit by our damn selves. You do not have to carry other people's shit. Give the shit back. If you have been told that you are ugly, give it back. Because who gets to decide that? Who are the they? When they say, Marshall, you're going to be 50, you shouldn't be wearing that. Who? Who said? Who are they? Gray cabinets are out. Who? Who says? Who are these they that you are listening to and are yielding to in your life, where you're so busy giving a fuck about what they, and we don't know who they are, and they got you so in fear that if you make a mistake, you become broken glass? So what? So what? I'm clumsy. I fall all the time. So what? Why would I feel embarrassed about falling, where if you are a human, you've fallen? The fuck? Be grateful that you didn't scrape your knee. Or if you just scraped your knee, be grateful for that. Be grateful that it's just a story in life's journey. Right? Usually people who feel embarrassed is because you care what other people think. You care what crazy people think? You are not able to look at other people and see that we are all going through some shit, that we are all living a life of ups and downs and arounds. We are all living a life of highs and lows. We are all experiencing life. Life is happening for everyone, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ain't shit, the woo, all of it. But you are embarrassed? Have you guys watched the news and TV and see what is going on in the human experience? And you are embarrassed because you don't got it? And you are embarrassed because you fell? Or you are embarrassed because you're sick? Or you are embarrassed because you're weak? Or you are embarrassed because you don't know how to do something? Get the fuck out of here. So what? So what? Falling isn't the end. My God. I'm going to say it one last time. Staying down because of other people's opinions? Oh, Lord. Now that should be a full so what? You should be ashamed and embarrassed that you give a fuck about what other people. I think some of you are so broken that you see the world through a hazy rose-colored glasses and believe that you are in the world alone and are the only person going through shit. Is that the ego? Why are you unable to see other people? Why are you, see, some of you believe so hard, so strongly in first impressions. I don't give a fuck about nobody's first impression, because if people tell you to be your best self when you meet somebody, don't you assume that other people are being their best selves when they meet you? If people are too nice, I assume that they're not. If somebody says he beats me, I believe anything could be possible. How about that shit? Somebody say, oh my God, they would never, they're so genuine or genuine or generous. So you could give money to little kids and still be a rapist. You could donate money to a hospital and still be a sex trafficker. You can still be on TV talking about you're a good wife and still be having major affairs or lying or beating or starving your children. Remember, two things are always true. Two things, three things, four things. Many things can be true at the same time, especially if you can't walk around being your full self. Why the fuck do you think that people who ain't shit are walking around being their full self? There are many masks that people are wearing in this world. And sometimes you got to take off your own mask in order to see that other people are wearing a mask. And only when you take off your mask will you realize that you get to be. You get to fall and say, so what? You get to cry and say, so what? You get to not have it and say, so what? You get to burn the chicken and say, so what? You get to mess up and say, so what? You get to try and it not work and say, so what? But you also get to get the fuck up and say, so what? I'm tired of talking to you guys. Bye.